Hey guys! Today I'm going to show y'all some tips and tricks to use for the upcoming ESTD tournament in Midway. Some of the things that I'll be showing you can be transferred to any other tracks as well as into your own progression in the game. These tips and tricks I'll be teaching can help improve your reaction time, tuning, and muscle memory. Note that I will be covering tips and tricks in the lead run. Your chase run will depend on your own driving style and the opponent's lead run. Without further ado, let's get on to the video. So first off, I'm going to be showing you the cars I'll be using for this video. I'll be using my Pro 2 Spec 1188 horsepower RX-7 and Pro Am Spec 688 horsepower S14 to teach you guys the best tuning and line to use. Secondly, I'm going to give you guys some tuning tips. For Midway, you should have a fairly snappy car. That being said, you can use high downforce and shorter gearings for this layout. For tuning newbies, I'll be going into depth on how you can tune your car to its optimal performance for this track. You can skip this part if you already know how to tune. So I'll be covering the important parts to tune. Before we start tuning, you have to know which engine you want to use. If you're in Pro 2, you can always use the import VR38 or the 26B. In Pro Am, I recommend using the import VR38, a tuned SR20, or a stock SR20. We can start off by tuning the ECU. You always want your car's torque RPM to be at max. If your car's horsepower goes above the limit, you can use a lower part for your turbo, exhaust, or intercooler. Your car's rev limiter corresponds to how much torque RPM your car has. I recommend having your rev limiter at least 1000 RPM above the torque RPM. Next is the clutch. If you have a custom clutch, which I recommend getting one if you haven't, you can use shorter gears to maximize the car's ability to gain acceleration through corners. I will put my gearings in the screen for you guys to use or experiment with. Along with the clutch, you should tune your differential. I recommend setting it to between 3.75 and 4.11. This gives your car a balance of torque and top speed. For the car's suspension, I recommend using semi-soft setup, somewhere between 6 to 9K on the rear and 9 to 11K at the front. Midway is not a flat track and you need your suspension to travel in order to be able to drive your car well. Or if you want to be as crazy like me, you can always run max stiffness on the rear and least stiffness on the front. Finally, we can adjust the downforce of the car. Depending on your car's horsepower, I recommend using downforce around 20 to 70 on Pro 2 cars and 10 to 50 on Pro Am cars. You always want to have a higher downforce on the front of the car than the rear to encourage oversteer on the car. Otherwise, your car will just straighten up. Now, let's get on the track. For initiating, there are skid marks on the track that goes towards the outside. Follow that with your left wheels to align your car for initiation. You can then clutch kick initiate right before the beginning of the corner. Try to stay as close as possible to the barriers. For transitioning into second corner, you can use the cones as a signal. Once you reach the end of the cones, then it's time to transition smoothly and get as close to the next set of barriers. For the last corner, you can transition after this area and try to get the front of your car as close to the barrier. Then that's pretty much it. You can do the same line for Pro Am, but just be a bit smoother since the cars are slower and less aggressive. And that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks for watching, and I hope you get to win the Midway event. Bye!